Konnichiwa, minasan. O genki desu ka? Welcome to the intermediate course of my channel. Let's learn Japanese with Eric. In this lesson, we'll learn how to express probability, how to say might or maybe, probably, and surely. Yoroshii desu ka? Hajimemashou. In this lesson, you'll learn how to express probability, how to say might or maybe when you're not sure something will happen, to say probably when you have more certainty that something will happen but are not 100% sure, and to say for sure or surely when you're close to 100% but there's still doubt. In Japanese, you put these probability expressions at the end of a verb, adjective, or noun. In other words, you have the verb, adjective, or noun, and after them, you add the probability expression. In the case of verbs and adjectives, they have to be fully conjugated. In the plain form, they can be in the non-past or past tense, in the affirmative or negative, and they can be in other modalities or conjugations that you've already learned in previous lessons. Each of the three probability expressions has modal adverbs that are frequently used in the middle of the sentence to clue the listener in as to what the probability expression is going to be. Might, probably, or surely. Modal adverbs reflect the speaker's mental attitude. Let's take a closer look at how to express might or maybe. To the verb, adjective, or noun, you add the expression KAMO SHIRENAI or KAMO SHIREMASEN for formal style. You use KAMO SHIRENAI when the chance of something happening is low, say for example, just 20%. The use of KAMO SHIRENAI is typically associated with the use of modal adverbs such as moshika shitara, moshika suruto, hyotto shitara, and hyotto suruto. These modal adverbs mean perhaps, and they're put in the middle of the sentence or at the start of the sentence. So the moment you hear any of these, you know that KAMO SHIRENAI is coming and the probability statement is going to be might or maybe. The use of modal adverbs is not compulsory, but their use is quite common. Next one is probably, and you express this by adding DAROU after the verb, adjective, or noun. The formal of DAROU is deshou. DAROU and deshou are volitional forms of the verb to be, or da. We use DAROU when there's a higher chance of something happening, higher than KAMO SHIRENAI. And for the purposes of the test, I always tell my students to use DAROU when there's at least a 50-50 chance of something happening. And the modal adverbs associated with DAROU are tabun and osoraku. They both mean probably. To express for sure or surely, to the verb, adverb, and noun, we add the expression ni chigai nai or ni chigai arimasen for formal style. You use ni chigai nai when you're pretty sure that something will happen, say greater than 80%. This is an arbitrary number I tell my students. And the modal adverb associated with ni chigai nai is kitto, which means for sure. In the next slides, we look at various examples using verbs, adjectives, and nouns. Let's take this sentence as the base. Tomorrow it will rain. Will rain is a verb in the non-past tense, and in Japanese we say Ashita ame ga furu. Ashita ame ga furu. Tomorrow it will rain. To say tomorrow it might rain, we take the base. Ashita ame ga furu. The verb has to be in the plain form, furu. And to the base, we add the expression for might, which is KAMO SHIRENAI. Ashita ame ga furu kamo shirenai. Or for formal style, Ashita ame ga furu kamo shiremasen. To further add clarity, we can add any of the modal adverbs. Moshika shitara, moshika suruto, hyotto shitara, and hyotto suruto. So for example, we can say moshika shitara ashita ame ga furu kamo shirenai. Tomorrow it might rain. To say, tomorrow it will probably rain, again we take the base, 明日雨が降る, and to it we add the expression for probably, which is だろう. 明日雨が降るだろう. Or in formal style, 明日雨が降るでしょう. And to further make it clear, we can add any of the modal adverbs tabun or osoraku. So for example, we can say 多分明日雨が降るだろう. Tomorrow it will probably rain. And to say tomorrow it will surely rain, again we take the base, 明日雨が降る. And to it we add the expression for sure, which is に違いない. 明日雨が降るに違いない. Or for formal style, 明日雨が降るに違いありません. And to further make it clear, we can add the modal adverb kitto and also say きっと明日雨が降るに違いない. Tomorrow it will surely rain. For our next example, we'll use a verb in the past tense. Mr. Tanaka ate sushi at the party. Ate is in the past tense. So in Japanese, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べた. 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べた. Again, the verb ending has to be in the plain form, 食べた, and this is our base. For the probability might, our sentence is, Mr. Tanaka might have eaten sushi at the party. In Japanese, we take the base, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べた. And to this base, we tack on the might expression, かもしれない. 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたかもしれない. And in formal style, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたかもしれません. And you can tack on any of the modal adverbs for might to further make the sentence clearer. So for example, ひょっとすると田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたかもしれない. Mr. Tanaka might have eaten sushi at the party. For probably, our sentence is, Mr. Tanaka probably ate sushi at the party. Again, we take the base, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べた. And to this base, we tack on probably, だろう. 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べただろう. And for the formal style, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたでしょう. And if you want to tack on any of the modal adverbs for probably, to further make the sentence clearer, perhaps you can say, おそらく田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べただろう. And to say surely, our sentence becomes, Mr. Tanaka surely ate sushi at the party. And to say this in Japanese, again we take the base, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べた. And to this we add に違いない. 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたに違いない. Or in the formal style, 田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたに違いありません. And adding the modal adverb kitto, you can now say きっと田中さんはパーティーで寿司を食べたに違いない. Mr. Tanaka surely ate sushi at the party. For our next example, we use a verb in the progressive tense to indicate ongoing action. You can review the progressive tense in lesson 33, and our sentence is, she is studying at home, and is studying is in the progressive tense. In Japanese, 彼女はうちで勉強している. 彼女はうちで勉強している. And this is our base. Again, the verb has to be in the plain form, ている. We cannot use formal conjugations like ています. And to say, she might be studying at home, we take the base, 彼女はうちで勉強している. And to it, we add かもしれない. 彼女はうちで勉強しているかもしれない. Of course, you can also express it in the formal style if you want, but for this set of examples, I'll use the plain style. Also, I won't use any of the modal adjectives. So again, 彼女はうちで勉強しているかもしれない. She might be studying at home. And now to express even higher probability, she is probably studying at home. Again, we take the base, 彼女はうちで勉強している. And to it we add だろう. 彼女はうちで勉強しているだろう. 彼女はうちで勉強しているだろう. She's probably studying at home. And to express near certainty, surely, she is surely studying at home. So again, we take the base, 彼女はうちで勉強している. And to it we add に違いない. 彼女はうちで勉強しているに違いない. 彼女はうちで勉強しているに違いない. She's surely studying at home. Our next example uses an E adjective. Our sentence, hotels in Paris are expensive. Expensive in Japanese is takai, and it is an E adjective. The whole sentence in Japanese is パリのホテルは高いだ. パリのホテルは高いだ. We don't need the da verb as our base to conjugate probability, and so our base is simply パリのホテルは高い. Our might sentence is hotels in Paris might be expensive. Now for this set of sentences, I'll be using the formal style and not use any of the modal adverbs. So translating into Japanese, we take our base, パリのホテルは高い, and to it we add かもしれません. パリのホテルは高いかもしれません. パリのホテルは高いかもしれません. Paris hotels might be expensive. Hotels in Paris are probably expensive. To translate into Japanese, we take the base, パリのホテルは高い, and we add the probably expression でしょう. パリのホテルは高いでしょう. パリのホテルは高いでしょう. Parisian hotels are probably expensive. Hotels in Paris are surely expensive. パリのホテルは高いに違いありません. パリのホテルは高いに違いありません. Hotels in Paris are surely expensive. Our next example uses a na adjective. If you go to Tokyo, the bus is inconvenient. Inconvenient in Japanese is fuben na, a na adjective. Translating the whole sentence to Japanese, 東京に行ったらバスが不便だ. 東京に行ったらバスが不便だ. Again, we don't need the da ending. 行ったら means if you go, and this conditional conjugation using tara is explained in detail in lesson 62a. Now let's conjugate our base sentence into the probability conjugations. Our base sentence is 東京に行ったらバスが不便. If you go to Tokyo, the bus might be inconvenient. I'll use the plain style in this set of sentences. In Japanese, we take the base 東京に行ったらバスが不便, and to it we tack on かもしれない. 東京に行ったらバスが不便かもしれない. 東京に行ったらバスが不便かもしれない. If you go to Tokyo, the bus is probably inconvenient. Again, taking the base, 東京に行ったらバスが不便, and to it we tack on だろう. 東京に行ったらバスが不便だろう. 東京に行ったらバスが不便だろう. If you go to Tokyo, the bus is probably inconvenient. If you go to Tokyo, the bus is surely inconvenient. 東京に行ったらバスが不便に違いない。東京に行ったらバスが不便に違いない。If you go to Tokyo, the bus is surely inconvenient. Our last example uses a noun. In our sentence, Mary is an English teacher. In Japanese, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei desu. Myari-san wa eigo no sensei desu. Des is the formal form of da, and we don't need it. So our base sentence is simply Myari-san wa eigo no sensei. Now for this set of sentences, I'll be using the plain informal style. Mary might be an English teacher. Myari-san wa eigo no sensei kamo yo. Myari-san wa eigo no sensei kamo yo. In this example, we shortened KAMO SHIRENAI to simply KAMO, and you'll hear this a lot in fast informal speech. Myari-san wa eigo no sensei kamo yo. Mary might be an English teacher. And if we add a modal adverb in the beginning, we can also say, moshika shitara, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei kamo yo. Moshika shitara, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei kamo yo. Perhaps Mary might be an English teacher. Mary is probably an English teacher, and using a modal adverb in the beginning, tabun, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei darou. Tabun, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei darou. Mary is probably an English teacher. Mary is for sure an English teacher. Now with a modal adverb, kitto, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei ni chigai nai. Kitto, Myari-san wa eigo no sensei ni chigai nai. Mary is surely an English teacher. To summarize, in this lesson, we learned how to express probability. We use the expression kamo shirenai or kamo shiremasen to indicate might or maybe when the probability of something happening is low. We use the expression darou or deshou, which means probably, to indicate a higher probability of something happening, say at least 50-50 chance. And we use ni chigai nai or ni chigai arimasen to indicate a very high probability that we're almost sure something will really happen. Now these expressions of probability are tacked on directly after verbs, adjectives, or nouns. For verbs and adjectives, they must be fully conjugated in the plain form. They can be in the non-past or past tenses, they can be in the affirmative or negative, and they can also be in other modalities and conjugations, most of which you've already learned in previous lessons. And this ends our lesson on how to express probability in Japanese. Mata aimashou. Ganbatte kudasai. If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily, learn grammar, and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly upon. So please click like, share, or subscribe and watch the next video in the series. Nihongo no benkyou ni ganbatte kudasai. じゃあ、またね。